Hi. Good morning, everybody. It's Lee here from Let's Talk About It. And today we've got the fabulous Kez Wickham St George on talking to us today. So hi, Kez.
Good morning, everyone.
So I'll tell you a little bit about Kez to start. And she's an amazing woman. Kez's passion is to inspire and nurture others to tell their stories. She has 10 novels published, the first 3 adventures in the outback published internationally, 3 paranormal books published nationally. I'll let her tell you about the royal family a bit. She's also a popular speaker at many local events, ever the storyteller. So however, mentoring and consulting to assist others to tell their stories has become a large part of her life. So we're looking forward to hearing about that. But most of all, Kez believes you become what you believe. So over to you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your personal life, about yourself, and then
personal life? Well, I'm married, happily married for about 40 years now.
wow.
Yeah, I know. We both look at each other in surprise because none of us expected that. I think we like each other. So anyway,
important.
We have 2 children.
Yes.
And I have 3 grandchildren. And what else? That's my personal side. I adore where I live. I live in Rockingham, about 5 minutes from some beautiful beaches.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I do love my beaches, but I'm also lucky enough to maybe 20 minutes away drive to the bush, because I was born in New Zealand. So I was born amongst bush and by lakes and very villagey. So I'm very country, very I love my villages. When I was where I lived, where I was born, is very cityfied now. So when I went back to London, where my mum was born, all the little villages over there were just amazing. I just enjoyed myself over there. So what more about me? I became an artist. I had an accident in New Zealand and was more or less told I wasn't work worthy. I was in a lot of pain. I'd hurt my back. So I turned to art. I've always played with art, done a lot of certificates in that in art, but never really took it seriously. I was always of the mindset that get a proper job, like sit in an office, become a secretary, follow a boss.
And
I mean that. And then when I was in my 50s, I came to Perth and there was no boss. I was on my own. I had no family here. And I'm my boss and I love it. I love being self-employed. But the art really came out then because I had all the time in the world. I wasn't employed. I had no children to look after. I had no grandchildren living with me to look after. So, and I've always had a lot of family around me. So it was a big shock moving to Perth, but I sort of I geared myself up for that. So my personal life in Perth became art and writing. And I started getting published and I started joining exhibitions and being accepted. And I thought, well, I can't be too bad. I am a bit of a, what would you call it? I'm a bit wayward when it comes to, no, I won't follow your orders. I'm an adult. I'll do my own thing. So, yeah, it's been such a learning curve for me and I've been here 17 years now. So and in those 17 years I never thought I would travel the world, and I have done so twice. I never thought I would travel Australia, and I've done so twice.
Wow.
So yeah, we camp, we go caravanning, we just, the thing I've learned, and if I could advise anybody that's watching, live today for today. Don't worry about yesterday or what's coming on tomorrow, because if you don't live for the day, you miss it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so many other youth and our children are missing today because it's a worry. That's awesome, because so when you're in your 50s, you moved here and then you found yourself, if you want to call it that. I mean, you started to work before your artist work and that before, but when you came here, you were, I guess, free to do.
I was a school teacher, and I was I wasn't the principal of the school. I was the head tutor of a tourism school. And within that tourism school, I took on a lot of responsibility, which I loved. I absolutely loved it because I traveled with it as well.
Yes.
So once that went, I was a bit of a loose, I didn't know what to do with myself. I really didn't, because all my time, I seem to have grown in chunks. So instead of just going up those little stairs, well, that's another growth, that's another, I'm better, I'm bigger. I always go chung, and oh goodness, there's another big chunk to learn. And that's my life. And I just had to learn to accept that's the way my life happens. So when I moved to Perth, it was like the first 6 months was horrible. I think I cried every day.
Oh, shame.
And I grieved and I cried and I missed my family and I missed my grandkids and I even missed work. So yeah, it's, and I was wise enough to allow myself to grieve.
Yeah, that's good.
And then I just walked out of the house one day and I just looked above me and I saw the most beautiful blue sky and clouds. And I thought, how lucky am I? Lucky.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every day you go out, especially with our blue skies the last few days, they're always there, but especially the last few days, I'll be noticing just how blue they are. And I kind of want to get out my camera as I'm driving and share it with the world, but you can't. So I don't do that. If there's any little listening, I don't do that. But I wish I had a dash cam or something to do that, because our skies are so blue here in Perth and so blue.
They're endless, aren't they? They just go on forever.
It's just so beautiful. And it's a different blue, because I lived in Mongolia and it's called the big sky because it's just blue. You don't get clouds or anything, but it's a different blue.
Yes.
So it's just so different. So now tell us about your writing.
My writing. Well, I've always written in little bits and pieces, never really taken it seriously. But once I was in Perth on my own, I thought it's time. It's time I took it seriously, because I honestly felt like it adds something. I'd only written one serious book, really. It was a booklet, a novelette for New Zealand Education Board. And it was about how to motivate people into getting back to work, because I was in the tourism industry. So, and then I wrote a self-published a children's story, but it was for my family only. And that wasn't well received. It was like, oh yeah, clever you. And they put it down and walked away. And I thought, oh, I've gone to all this work. And that's when the doctor said to me, I want you to have about 6 weeks off work. You've hurt your back. You need to rest up. Because I was always on the go. And then coming to Perth, it was, oh, what do I do? When, I'm not a great TV watcher, because you see a lot of rubbish on TV, so it's rubbish in. And I don't like to going to bed thinking I've just watched a horror movie, and every creak I'm awake and thinking, what was that? So I don't want to watch a lot of TV. So I write, and I began to format a book. And the first book I ever wrote, I don't think I've got it here. No, I haven't. Isn't that awful? I haven't got my own book in my own bookshelf.
It'd be nice if I had all your books behind me, but I don't either. We should have done this from one of the bookstores.
I get so many requests for them. You've got no idea. So I keep a couple here to send off, but normally my publisher's always saying to me, I'll go in there and there's lots of books to be sent off. But no, it's not here. I've most probably sent it off to someone. But anyway, so I sat down and I wrote, and I thought, is this any good? And I sat on it for a couple of years and thought, I don't know. In the meantime, I was publishing, I joined lots of clubs. So I was publishing poetry. Okay. I love poetry. And I was publishing short stories. And I was really enjoying that lifestyle. But this book kept niggling at me. So yeah, it finally came out of the woodwork and I finished it off. And 10 very large books later, I found there's a writer sitting in me that says, let's write. So I find it's the most, in the later part of the day is when my brain is really revved up with all that's happened and I have to put it down on paper.
Yeah. So when you're writing, when you started, did you write
Yes.
Because I mean, soon, you know, the computers are out, but I mean, writing. And then now, do you type on the laptop or something, or do you find it?
It's supposed to work that way, Lee. It really is, but it doesn't work that way.
No.
I journal at night time. I put down the pros and the cons of the day, and now and again I'll start. My journal is full of sketches and pictures of whatever and trees, and so I journal at night time, and then during the daytime I might have had 2 or 3 ideas that I will look at, but normally I have stopped handwriting books, because when I first started writing and I found my first publisher, everything, it was like in a big file like this, all handwritten, and I just presented it to him because I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. This is going back 2 years after I'd moved here, 15 years.
Yes.
I had no idea what to do. So I rang this guy up and he said, well, let's meet and see what you can do. So I proudly took my huge folder of words, beloved book, to him, and he went, well, you're certainly a writer, but I can't do anything with this. And I thought, oh, what do you mean? It's my baby. What do you mean? And he said, well, you've got to type it up. And I thought, oh, bugger. I want to type it up. I know what it says.
Yes.
So I sat down. It was like reschooling myself, because I was pretty much, I was computer illiterate. So I really had to teach myself how to write on a computer. And now it's like, I do hand journal at night time. There's nothing more relaxing for me.
Yes.
But when it comes to actually sitting down and writing, then I attack the computer.
I always feel like I would like a typewriter if I'm going to.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
The old one that goes da, 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 da. That's what I learned to type on 100 years ago.
Me too.
That's kind of in my romantic novel mind, like sitting at a typewriter, you know, in Spain, looking at the ocean.
No, life's not like that.
So your first book was called what?
My first book is called Metal Mermaid.
Oh, I saw that, yeah. You've won awards for that.
Yes.
That's very.
That's all about the travels.
Yes.
Yes. That was my first adventure romance book. That's the one that's really become a bestseller, and I'm really happy about that.
I'll have to go and get that.
There is another book out called White Wahine, and that's on Amazon. I think it's still on Amazon. I've had 3 publishers, and as each contract's finished, I have found one that can do more. So if it might be still on Amazon with my first publisher, I'm not sure, but we're going to do a republish with that one as well.
Oh, that's good. And then when you were first asked to go and speak overseas, that must have been exciting. Do you want to tell us about that?
I was invited by my publisher, Cara McDermott, to attend a writer's retreat at Crom Castle in Ireland. And first of all, I said no. I didn't think it was for me. And she never said a word. She just said, well, fair enough. That's how you feel. And I just got on with writing. And then something was in the back of my head, like, you just got to do this. You've got to do this. And so I rang her up and I said, is there anything left? And she went, oh, yes. Have you decided to? And I said, I'll come. So I couldn't afford the amount it cost then, because staying in a castle, it was quite expensive, and the flights there. So we decided to do a bit of a tour around Europe as well, because my husband, we've both got family in England, Dubai, Spain. So we decided to go and pester them all and say, guess who's here?
Yes.
So when I got to speak in Ireland, I wasn't nervous, but it was the most beautiful place. It was just serene. It really was. And there must have been about, I don't know, 20 school kids in the room, all wanting to learn how to be a writer.
Wow.
All the writers, all the other authors, there was about 15 authors already there. They got up and spoke. And on the plane going there, I caught a virus.
Oh, no.
And so I was just choked up. So I managed to do it was a 10-minute speech. I managed to do the first 5, and then I couldn't speak. It was just like, So I looked over at my publisher, and she's so calm, and she's so in the moment. I left the podium and she just replaced me, and she talked about me. So that's how it happened. And it was like, I just sat there going, eat Mindy's and chug back water. And I was like that the whole time I was there. I had this cough and it just would not go. I caught it on the plane going over there. So
yeah, the planes are viruses, flying viruses.
That's right, yeah.
Oh,
it's like a little old
so now have an Irish whiskey and you might be able to talk.
Oh, if I had an Irish whiskey, I would have been on the floor.
And then you've got in here also 2 children's books that now reside in many different countries and with the 2 royal families of the UK and Denmark. That's interesting. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I wrote these 2 children's books. Now, Pally the Pelican was a local book, and CP was from a little wee town that's way up in the Northland of New Zealand where I used to live. And on one side, when you up at the top of New Zealand, it's quite narrow, so it takes an hour to drive across from one ocean to the other. So on one side there was the seaweed pickers, and they fascinated me, so I wrote about them. And it's in like a little baby mermaid. But that and Pally the Pelican just took off nationally, but I wanted more. So I rang Government House, found out some addresses and sent them off to palaces, thinking that I'll never hear a word. It'll get under the bulk of everything else. And blow me down, I got a letter from Her Royal Highness.
Wow.
And I got a letter from Queen, is it Queen Mary now? And over in Sweden, is it Queen? Is she Queen yet? I'm not too sure. But Mary and Frederick, I got a letter from them, and a letter from the New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinta Ardern, thanking me for the beautiful book. Their children thoroughly enjoyed them, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, wow, it did get through to them. And I was just really happy to have, I've still got the letters, and I look at them and I think that was so exciting, getting letters in the mail. And it was like big embossed envelopes with the royal crest. And yeah, it was just lovely.
Oh, that's something to cherish, and maybe frame and put up on your walls. You know,
you never know.
That would be really great, and then your kids can't chuck them away. They'll be framed, and they can auction them off. So now, would you like to tell us about your workshops that you run, your mentoring and consulting?
I am a writer's consultant. Last year I had 4 authors published. I work very closely with my authors. I ask them to ring me at least once a week to once a fortnight. It's a Zoom call or a message. However they want to contact me, I'm happy. Up to 9 o'clock at night time, I will accept calls. And I train them on how to write their books, you know, because some people write a book and then they rush off to a publisher and it's refused, it's returned, and they get crushed. And there's no need for that when they use a writing consultant, because we hold your hand and we say, no, you can't write that, but you can write that. How about putting it in a different way? And then at the end of it, when I think they're ready to be published, I produce a publisher. And then normally your publisher will produce a decent editor. But if not, I've got plenty in the stable. I've got the same with illustrators. I have 3 to 4 publishers that, you know, they're all willing to have a look at the book. But I've never had, after I work with my young authors, well, I shouldn't say, because some of them aren't young, but after I've worked with them, I've never had one refused yet, because the format of the book is great. All you need, and I do it a soft edit, a soft proofread, which means I'm not a professional, but you or anyone else could pick up a spelling mistake or where the punctuation isn't sitting right. And it takes 6 months for me to work with you, and I'll guarantee you'll have a book at the end of it.
Wow, that's amazing. So in all the information that we're going to put for the premiere of this event, which will be everlasting, unless, you know, YouTube and Facebook shut us down totally, but then we'll put it somewhere else. We'll put all your information, your email, your website. I'm going to put all of this other information on that I have.
course.
because that's amazing. You've been a presenter at the Conscious Living, haven't you? Or
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I used to do all their stage work for them. Yes.
Yeah, I know you.
Of course you do. Did you not recognize me?
No. I told you it's the medication I'm on. It's not working. I mean, it's working, but it's frying my brain. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I remember now. That's nice.
Good.
So you know me too.
I knew your face. I mean, I looked at your face and I thought, because I meet so many people, and then I thought, I do know Lee. I do know you.
My hair's changed since COVID, but it's not.
Oh, so is mine.
It's not about. It's about you. Well, you know what? I'm interviewing, and if you've seen any others, all these women around Australia who are doing so many things just like you, that everybody's so talented, and we need to get it out there, you know, that what everybody's doing, because you only have the shop fronts really getting frontage and, you know, being seen. So I'm hoping that by doing this for everybody that we, apart from me, getting all the information and getting to know everybody, you know, that you would get some leads, not that you probably don't need them, but, you know, somebody out there, if you're looking to write a book and be inspired by Kez, she's the one, that's for sure. I love the whole, your whole concept, and your story is amazing. And that's why you write such good stories.
That's right.
Don't get that moment. So any last words you'd like to say to your audience right now?
Just believe in yourself. Just take that big step. Everybody I've ever met in my whole life has a story. Mm-hmm. So leave your footstep behind. Leave your footstep behind. Sorry about that. Okay. Leave your footstep behind inwards, you know, and just remember, life isn't a competition.
No.
It's not. And I think we realize that as we get older. As we're younger, we're rah, 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 eat them up, chew them out. But as you get older, it's like, hey, I'm here. If you need a hand, yell out.
Yes, exactly. So that's awesome. And we definitely have to get together.
For sure.
Thanks for coming on the call today. I've loved talking to you. I mean, I could talk to you for hours, but we won't do that right now. So, thanks for coming on. Let's talk about it, and hope I'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.